Don't speak the name of the suspect, New Zealand's leader urges after Sh00ting. Slideshow by Photo Services. Christchurch, New Zealand. The man accused of carrying out the attack that in Christchurch, New Zealand, is expected to represent himself in court, but the country's Prime Minister said on Tuesday that she wants to do everything possible to deny him the attention he craves. He is a terrorist. He is a criminal, and to others, I implore you, she added, speak the names of those who were lost, rather than name of the man who took them. He may have sought no. Her comments, which included a demand for internet platforms like Facebook to do a better job controlling hateful content, reflect a global struggle that has caught this small, open, and friendly country by surprise. How to avoid fueling fame for a man accused of killing, and his message even as officials and the news media try to better understand the forces that led to his apparent radicalization. The push to deny oxygen for what feels like a perpetual flame of hate has been gathering momentum ever since the attack, and reaches beyond the government. On Tuesday, New Zealand's largest broadband providers to the chief executives of Facebook, Twitter and Google, calling on them to be a part of an urgent discussion at an industry and New Zealand government level about how to deny access to content created by the suspected killer, 28. The companies Vodafone NZ, Spark and 2 Degrees acknowledged suspending access to websites that were hosting video footage of the Friday attacks that had been streamed live online. But they said there was internet service providers are the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff, with blunt tools involving the blocking of sites after the fact, the companies said, adding that social media companies have a legal duty of care to protect their users and wider society by preventing the uploading and sharing of content such as this video. The Association of New Zealand Advertisers also said in a statement Tuesday that local businesses were considering pulling their ads from Facebook, questioning whether they wanted to be associated with social media platforms unable or unwilling to take responsibility for content on those sites. The events in Christchurch raise the question if the site owners can target consumers with advertising in microseconds, why can't the same technology be applied to prevent this kind of content being streamed live? The group said. Facebook, in an effort to combat the criticism, Monday on how the gunman's video of the shooting spread. The company said that, of those, more than 1.2 million videos were blocked as they had been uploaded, and the company also said it cut off content that looked or sounded similar. Slideshow by Photo Services. Missing from the data was the total number of views for all versions of the video. The gunman's efforts were clearly choreographed for internet fame and to spread a message of hate. Minutes before but experts say it may not be enough to focus just on that content. New Zealand, Anjum Rahman, the head of the Islamic Women's Council of New Zealand, reported that her organization had tried to warn the government for years about growing vitriol toward Muslims and the rise of the so-called alt-right in New Zealand. In an op-ed for As Far as We Know, nothing concrete was done with that report, she wrote. In fact, one of the 2 mosques attacked Friday by men who gave Nazi salutes. Jared Gilbert, a University of Canterbury sociologist who studies gangs in New Zealand, said that when Christchurch had a problem in the 1980s and 1990s with white supremacist skinheads, the authorities tended to dismiss them as a fringe group because people never really wanted them here. He and other experts said it was important to distinguish between those gangs, which tended to draw lower-class and disenfranchised members, and the alt-right, which pulls in a wider demographic that's more unpredictable and engaged with. They're entirely different, and this poses very different challenges, he said. The street thugs are part of the issue is that these groups are often private, hard to find and steeped in anonymity, and their words rarely translate into action. And yet what the Christchurch attacks now show according to government officials, including the Prime Minister is that these groups need to be carefully watched because a handful of adherents may be motivated to act violently. There is no question that ideas and language of division and hate have existed for decades, but their form of distribution, the tools of organization they are new, Ms. Ardern said Tuesday. And in the aftermath of such attacks, the cycle of attention can amplify risk. Studies have shown the multiplier effect could also be seen on websites where white supremacists have tended to gather. While websites, on a cached site for the National Front, which has campaigned under the slogan, "It's okay to be white," reactions to the attack were divided. Some commenters, "This is bad optics. I hope and pray that." Another person called the shootings a brutal wake-up call and said the victims deserved no sympathy. A user called Celtic Warrior said, "Harsh medicine, indeed, but sadly, very necessary." The Dominion movement is a year-old group that describes itself as a fraternity of young New Zealand nationalists, united by the belief that Europeans are the defining people of this nation and that they were essential in its creation. "We oppose the animosity and contempt this system holds for us and our people. We reject the entire concept of white guilt," a cached version of its website reads. As of Tuesday, the group's Twitter and Instagram accounts have been suspended. Whether these groups or others have a chance to amplify whatever Mr. Tarrant says when he appears in court. His next appearance is scheduled for April 5. Is still unknown. The judge in the case, Richard Peters, the duty lawyer at the suspected gunman's first court appearance Saturday, said he didn't know whether the man's decision to represent himself would draw more attention to the case or less. But for Ms. Ardern and many others, his efforts are best ignored, in court, and on the internet. "I don't have all of the answers now, but we must collectively find them," she said. "And we must act," Charlotte Graham Maclay contributed reporting.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.